Two things going. Excellent.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
How you
Welcome.
doing?
Let me turn this light on.
Welcome back to your
Welcome
abode.
back to my house, to my little slice of heaven.
It
Oh
pretty
my
much
gosh.
is.
It's so hot today.
Hot?
I am. Maybe because I'm at the certain age, I'm getting a hot flash. I don't know.
No, I think that happens for me, not you.
Well,
It's warmer, but I was not hot by any means.
yeah, no. I mean, well, it's been like 10 degrees, so
Yeah,
it's 50
right.
degrees today. So for me,
Balmy.
it's a balmy 50 degrees out right now. How have you been this past week?
Pretty good.
It's Valentine's Day.
Yes.
That just happened.
Yes. I wore my heart sweater on Valentine's Day.
Adorable.
It was so appropriate, I felt.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't I don't have anything with hearts on it. I don't think.
Well, you should look into that.
I know. Maybe I just need to make some like construction paper hearts and wear them
That would be
like
weird.
we did
I don't
in
know.
grade
No.
school.
No.
I'd wear a
No.
construction paper heart and put my name on it for the day.
Well, I would support you, but I might be judging you from afar.
That's really all I ask for. Is for people to support me from afar. Just don't judge me at all. You know what else is good in this weather?
What?
Read books. See how I put that?
I like how you did that.
Right?
I did read a book this week.
I did as well. It was a pretty good book, I have to say, and I'm excited because we have the author here.
Yes, this is our first time having a real life author.
Right?
Yes.
We've graduated into
Yes.
some weird new upper echelon of podcast hosts.
Absolutely.
I don't know what that entails.
I don't know either,
A new,
but it's
new
exciting.
car.
Especially a young author, because that's to me even more impressive.
Yes.
That you can publish a book at a young age.
Yeah, young age, aimed at young readers.
Mhm.
And I'm super interested because the book we read tackles a lot of really hard topics.
Mhm.
And it handles the topic so well that I'm excited to talk to the author and find out more about it. So without further ado, author of In the Hole, please welcome to the show, Ben Levin is here. Hello, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hi.
So glad you are here. We're very excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to be here.
Nice. Good. Excellent. How are you today? How was your week? How was your Valentine's Day week?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any special Valentines?
No.
Me neither. Good.
Although my friend is really excited about a different holiday, which is more for friends, called Random Acts of Kindness Day, which is tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
What? So February 17th is Random Acts of Kindness Day. When did that start? How did that start?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
We'll have him on next week.
I love that.
I like that idea.
I think I'm going to just try to do some random acts of kindness tomorrow, even though I just do that in my everyday life.
All right. Let's dial it back to a 4. No, I think there should be more holidays like that. I appreciate that. So everybody listening, February 17th, Random Acts of Kindness Day.
I don't know if it's the same day every year.
Okay.
Well, we can start it off on the 17th and whatever happens, happens. I love that. Mm-hmm. So, Ben, we're excited to have you here because Kristen and I both read your book, In the Hole.
Yes.
Little synopsis. It's about David Kimball and his family. He's 10 years old when the story starts, and he's 8 when the story starts. Sorry, he ages a few years, and it's about him and his family kind of hitting a rough patch and becoming homeless, and how they deal with that and their struggles and how they eventually come out the other end. We're curious. Well, first of all, let's begin at the beginning. How did you become an author in the first place? Because this is such a great book and has such a great message. I'm curious how you ended up where you're at author-wise.
I loved making up stories from an early age. And typically I just rewrote stories. When I was 10, my mom kept referring to one story I made up as a book. And after she did that multiple times, I thought maybe I'd turn it into a book. So I gave writing a try, and it turned out to be something I had a lot of fun doing and something I knew I was meant to do.
Is this the story that is in the hole, the story you wrote when you were 10, or is that one of your other publications?
I wrote In the Hole when I was 15 and 16.
Okay, because you are an acclaimed author. You are what's the word where people do write a lot of stuff? I'm missing the word. The not fluent. There's a word.
You're putting the pressure on.
I know,
mouth.
right?
I'm
like, sorry.
I don't know. Sounds like
you have a lot of stories and books under your belt, and a lot of them are geared towards younger readers. What was the inspiration to focus on young readers for your stories?
I just love kids' books, and children's books defined my childhood, and they're so important. I want to help add to the happiness they bring.
Oh God, absolutely. I agree 1,000%. I think children's books and young adult books, where your kind of focus is, are so important, because that's when we're forming our ideas about ourselves and our friends and the world. And so stories like yours, I think, are really necessary for kids and young adults to read and to get it kind of a glimpse into different ways of life.
Yes.
Yeah,
because when you're young, you only know, for most people, what you're surrounded by.
Right.
You don't have a lot of exposure to different things. And so by reading, and especially reading a novel like In the Hole, a young adult a young adult that has no knowledge of what homelessness is like and how it would affect a family and a 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old boy, whatever it is, it opens up their eyes and gives them that insight into something that might be totally different from them, and they would have maybe years before they would ever have any exposure to it, or perhaps never.
Yeah, agreed. So the story of In the Hole, is it something inspired by something that happened in your life, or is somebody else you know, or was it totally a work of fiction for you?
It was a work of fiction for me, something which I didn't realize until too late, and someone had to point it out for me. Well, almost too late, that it was dangerous for me to publish this book without doing additional research into homelessness. So I started doing interviews with people who work with the homeless, as well as a couple of women who have faced homelessness.
Right.
And In the Hole was actually inspired by a class at religious school in 8th grade. My rabbi showed me and my class a video about children in Florida who were facing homelessness. And after seeing the video, I wanted to help.
Okay.
And what better way to help than to write a great novel about, one family's struggle with it. And it's the best way to get the word out there sometimes, is to tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can repeat statistics until you're blue in the face, but making it personal and telling a really great story like you did, I think, will reach a lot more people. Anything interesting that you found doing your interviews with the people about homelessness?
There are a couple of things, and warning, I am about to rant about something kind of controversial.
Okay.
There are a couple of injustices people facing homelessness face, which really disappoint me. The first is there are too many luxury apartments that are empty and people who are homeless in the same states. That's not okay. They need to luxury apartments need to be willing to meet at least halfway, so people who are facing homelessness can have somewhere to go. It's so wrong that they have to deal with that when, if houses just lowered their rates, I understand that's not completely realistic for the economy, but if they met at least partway, like they lowered. And also, people facing homelessness don't have enough jobs available to them. So it's not like they can just get more money. They try to, but it's not that simple. I think everyone's looking for the solution, but what we currently have is not okay.
Great.
And the other thing is people facing homelessness before they're able to have a house again often have to go through tests with someone who decides whether or not they're ready to be housed again. I mean, is that honestly okay, especially since people who are already housed don't have to take it? I mean, babies were never housed and they still are brought home.
Right.
I mean,
It's a great analogy. Please come on and rant anytime you want.
Yeah.
I love
I mean,
everything you just said. Keep going.
These types of things both completely disgust me, and I really want to help fight against these.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. It does aggravate me as well. Like, we live in Philadelphia, and I know, like, I look outside and look at the skyline, and I know not all of those apartments, not all those windows have people behind them living there. And there's a lot of empty space in big cities.
Something I forgot to mention.
Please.
It's actually more expensive to be people facing homelessness than it is to have apartments that are empty.
Yep. It costs less to actually house people who are homeless than to keep them homeless and treat them where they're at.
Right.
Yep.
Especially when you think about all the programs that are trying to feed them, as well as, more importantly, the medical world. If we were housing our people, caring for them, and not leaving them on the streets, then all the different medical problems and medical emergencies that take place with our homeless would not all be happening. But by
my God, yes.
Right?
Yeah, but people living like that, of course, they're going to have more medical conditions going on because they're not even sheltered,
right?
Let alone any pre-existing conditions.
And a large section of the homeless population are people who really do need the help. It's veterans, LGBTQ teenagers who have been kicked out of their homes, people who really do have nowhere else to go and not a lot of options in terms of finding help. So, there's other societal issues to address that go into why the homeless population in one of the richest countries in the world is so ridiculously large.
And I wanted to make one quick point, and
Sure.
I want to let Ben talk more, but I like when you were saying about wanting to get a job and trying to get a job. The one thing, I know there's many obstacles that get in the way of that for them, but the one thing is very basic. They don't have an address. They don't have a home address.
Right.
That alone can prevent them from being able to apply for a job. Just that. And I know there's probably 20 more things, but that I do know is a big obstacle. And that's just literally after you write your name on an application, what you have to put down.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have a home address, it's really difficult to do anything. Specifically for the story of In the Hole, was any of that, is that kind of a conglomeration of stories you heard when you were doing your research, or was there one specific story somebody told that you based the story on?
The story, it's kind of hard to say. Some things about David and his family and friends came from out of the blue, and others were I did read one book about homelessness before, Almost Home. I don't remember what the book is about, but I do remember that the protagonist is a girl named Sugar. And and I also saw at least one video beforehand about homelessness, plus I'm not sure if either of you have seen Glee, but in Glee, during one of the seasons, one of the members of the Glee Club, Sam, is homeless for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And those three things were were the video, Glee, and Almost Home were what I got most of my knowledge from. But and while I'd say that they were kind of insufficient, I feel like they did help me on a good start.
Yeah, well, if they were impactful, they were impactful. Or if they laid the groundwork for you, then that's significant to your writing process, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when I was reading it, what struck me, it stuck out to me the most about the story was the support system that David had. And it kind of reminded me of other stories I've read, like Stand By Me, or, those stories where there's this group of friends that no matter what have each other's backs and will follow each other and support each other no matter what. And that for me was kind of like the heart of the story. So can you talk a little bit more into the friendships that David had in the story and how they helped him?
Yeah, the friendships, I loved coming up with the friendships, especially. My favorite question to ask readers actually is whether or not they like which friendship they prefer between David and Justin or David and Gloria.
Oh, that sounds very a provocative question.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, that is an interesting. Well, what is that a question you have asked, or do you want to ask people?
It's a question. It's my favorite question to ask people after they read In the Hole.
Oh, and is there like a percentage either way? Like which friendship?
It feels like everyone prefers Justin except for the teacher, except for one of my teachers who couldn't decide. I can understand why, since Justin stuck by David for a really long time, and Gloria and David's friendship, since they were both homeless, was a little more normal, I guess.
Mm-hmm. They were just friends longer. That's why I would pick Justin. Not that the relationship with Gloria wasn't very significant and strong and supportive. It was a great friendship. But it was, Justin had all those years, and then you got Justin's whole family supporting and helping the Kimballs, right? Justin was the O'Malley.
Justin was the O'Malley's,
yeah. The O'Malley's helping the Kimballs. And there was just like so much love. They were like family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and well, Gloria, I'm gonna defend Gloria now because I want to. It's nice that David found Gloria at camp, because it's nice to have somebody who knows what you're going through. And even though Justin and David had such a great friendship for so long, Justin couldn't really understand David's situation like Gloria could. Yeah. So it was nice that David not only had Justin, but additionally had Gloria to kind of fill that space of, you really know what I'm going through,
Yeah, those two were David's main friendships. They were his best friends, but I also loved envisioning, and even I couldn't develop David's other friends, Elliot, Max, Nick, Robbie, Otto, Lewis, Sam, Will, and Peter, that much, other than maybe family and what sports they played, and a few minor scenes. But David definitely appreciated all of them, and I loved coming up with those bonds.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was talking to Ralph about before we got on today was one of the main points that your book illustrates is I guess this makes sense, but the importance of support and a supportive community in general, but specifically when you're going through something like that, because that family they had a lot of stuff going on, especially when dad started drinking. And obviously they don't have any money, so that's a problem. But they had such a great community amongst David's friends and Julia's friends a little bit, but also
Julia's friends a lot, actually.
Yeah, all of them, like 20 something people showing up to
the hospital. Yeah.
for her. That was great. I love that.
But I think it is important, point that would they have made it? Would the Kimballs have made it with all of that? Because they had a lot on their plate, especially when dad started drinking and kind of checked out.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people, the Kimballs were kind of fortunate in the fact that they did have a support system that stuck with them, because a lot of the friends they had, their neighbors in town, stuck with them through their years of homelessness. So, and a lot of people who are homeless don't have that support system. So it's one thing that's really necessary, I think, for people who are struggling with homelessness to have, is finding that support system that can help them, because it makes it easier to, lift yourself up. What do you think, Ben?
I agree. In a review, do you guys know who Maria Foskerinis is?
I do not. No.
I think she's with the National Board with Homelessness or something. I don't remember, but she was one of my first reviewers, and she pointed that out in a 7-paragraph book review. She said, this book also has some unusually resources often not available to people who lose their homes. They have a network of financially secure friends who offer a network of sorts, and they also have an inn which they can use seemingly without conditions or time limits. Still, this does not detract from the significance of the book and highlights the use of the resources.
Yeah. I think Kristen and I, in what we do, both together on the show and in our own practices, is that's one thing we tell our clients is, what's your circle of support look like?
Oh, absolutely.
Who is there that you can connect with, talk to, count on, be accountable to, help each other out, because any kind of change or anything you want to do in life is much easier when you have people who can support you and help lift you up. And even if it's just to talk to, somebody to bounce ideas off of, we can't do it alone. So yes, having that support is really important.
The other thing that jumped out at me, Ben, that I wanted to bring up is, I guess, David's maturity, that I thought you illustrated really, really well. When you start off in the beginning of the book, very beginning, when he wanted something, I forget what it was, and his mom said, we don't have money for that, and he kind of threw a little tantrum.
The baseball hat?
Baseball hat, yes.
Yes.
And then it's the Xbox is gone. And, you see David grow and mature, whereas he starts off as a typical 8-year-old that would, but then he, at the end of the book, I think, evolves into a very mature 11-year-old, right? He's 11 at the end. 12. But still, like, super mature. Like, he learned things through that experience that most kids his age would never have experienced. And I think he matured so much. And I noticed that throughout that. And then that appreciation and that humbleness and that gratefulness that he developed, again, at an age where children do not develop that at that young of an age. But so as difficult as it was, and as it forced David to grow up quickly, it also, I think, probably made him into a very grateful, humble, sensitive young man, very young.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I want to reiterate that it was nice to have a look inside his head when he was going through everything, because I think the way he spoke to himself about the issues and kind of talked himself through them was good, I think, for young readers to hear and see, because that's something that isn't taught as much as I feel like it could be in schools is that positive self-talk. And if something really negative does happen to you, how you can talk yourself through it and look at it from different points of view. And I think David did that really well during the course of the whole book. Yeah.
Also, I was thinking too, do you mind if I?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm looking. I have some questions written down just in case. I want to make sure I cover everything. But go ahead.
Mhm.
I think it also illustrates the importance for children to have extracurriculars.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's sports or it's chess or it's debate, whatever, who cares? Like something that the child is involved in, which I was raised this way, and I still do believe that that's important, whatever it is, that he had that established. And that was something that was an escape. That was something that was fun. It was something that built his confidence. And so I think that that's also a part of what the book shows, is that to me, it kind of just solidified or cemented how incredibly important for so many reasons that stuff is for kids.
Yeah. Yeah. How into baseball and basketball are you, Ben?
Not that much, actually. Not nearly as much as David was. I used to be crazy about basketball. I used to love shooting hoops. I was never that much into teams, but here's the truth. I love writing about sports, and I used to play basketball for a year, but I never played baseball. And trust me, I'm the only things I'm really into sports wise is sports literature.
Got it. Because you not only wrote really in depth about the games the kids played, both baseball and basketball, but you also name checked Mike Lupica a lot, who I know is like a famous sports writer. So are you a fan of him?
I love Mike Lupica. Yes, I still read a lot of his books, even though I'm a senior in high school.
Does he know you love him so much, and has he reached out?
No.
Darn it. Come on. What's his name?
Mike Lupica.
Come on, Mike Lupica.
But maybe that would be a great publicity thing to mention how much David enjoys his books.
Hey, I will personally tag him in this episode, and if he reaches out, I will let you know immediately. That
would be incredible. Thank you.
I would love that.
That would make my year for him, for Ben.
Before I forget, does the name of the book In the Hole have any significance? Did you hear it somewhere? Did somebody share it in one of their stories? Where did that come from?
I don't remember, but it's supposed to represent how living in poverty is like being in a hole.
You can't get out of,
Right. Okay.
Or it's difficult to get out of.
Difficult to get out of. All right. Just making sure, because it's such a good title that kind of encapsulates the whole story. So it was nice to all the food and the recipes and stuff in the book. Are you a secret cook, or was that just for the book?
That was just for the book.
Because you went in depth with some pretty good recipes in there too.
I mean,
I had to do a lot of research with the burger making.
That hamburger making, yes, I am actually going to try that recipe.
Really made me want a hamburger at that point.
It was. It sounded really delicious. All right, good. I just wanted to make sure. And you also have a lot of what I thought was interesting was there's a lot of really good study questions in the back. So, do you encourage people to read this in groups and use those questions to start good discussions about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is how we need a conversation about homelessness, and this is how it is made.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing.
Amen.
Piece that you added at the end.
Yeah.
That's very, really speaks to a young adult audience. Of being able to sit down and have these, not that older people can't do it too, but
no, just the young people.
I think it's a really good way for people to sit, discuss your book, and hopefully get things percolating in their head of what they can do to make a difference.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about it is that it fosters conversation. Too often adults as well, but young people especially can get lost in their own selves and their phones and their, social media accounts. And like, yes, you're kind of connecting with people, but it's through a screen rather than like face to face talking about interesting stuff. So anytime we can encourage people to sit down together in a group and talk about something like this, I think is a good thing. So I appreciate that you did that as well.
I have a question for him.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
So has your entire senior class read this book? Was this on the required reading list or what?
I wish. Honestly, even though I know people in my school have read it, I'm not sure anyone in my class has. I have to check.
I just wondered.
So you're a senior in high school, right?
Yes.
Right now, is this... I'm curious because I never was published as an author when I was looking at colleges. Does it affect like what schools you're looking for? If you're looking at all to go into university after this, is it affecting where you look or who's interested in you?
No, all I know is that I do need to study creative writing in college. I do actually have my school picked out, Fairleigh Dickinson University.
Oh yeah, I almost went there. I know that school.
All right.
Very good school. Excellent. Have you already applied? I don't know where you are with this. I guess you already have, right? Do you find out? Where are we in that?
I got an early admission.
Oh, excellent.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Good for you. So you're all set and ready to, oh, good for you. That's great.
Man. I'm so jealous.
You feel old?
Well, first of all, yes, I feel old, but also I'm jealous because I did not have my life this together.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was thinking. Listening to him, I'm like, I was like filling stuff out. I was like, I have no idea on these like things. I was even picking classes when I got into school. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Man, so good for you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's next? Any other new books percolating in your head?
Publication, writing, or both?
Oh, well, throwing it right back in my face, Ben.
Yeah.
Both.
So I am going to get the first books in my Nellie's Friends series published this spring.
Okay.
Excellent.
And can you tell everybody a little bit about what Nellie's Friends is?
Nellie's Friends is about this girl who moved from New York to Illinois. After she loses all her friends in the process, making new friends becomes her favorite thing to do. There are 44 books in the series, and in each one, she makes a new friend, and they have an adventure together.
44 books?
I don't even know.
How long are these books?
I will let you in on a secret.
Yes, please.
With the exception of the first 6, because I already meted them out, most of them are more skeletons of stories.
Okay.
Oh,
so like more short stories.
Yeah, which I need after the first 5 are published. I'm gonna need to mete out 7 through 10.
Got it. Well, I was worried you weren't sleeping with that many books. I was like, does he ever rest? My gosh. Okay.
Okay, so if anybody, and I encourage everybody listening, please read In the Hole because it's a really great story. If anybody is interested in reading In the Hole, where can they find it?
Jumpmasterpress.org.
Excellent. I found mine on Amazon as well. Is that okay to say?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay, great. Anything, do you have any other questions?
No, this has been so great though. I mean, I was already excited to meet you, but you're so well spoken and so just impressive.
I mean, yeah, if I could have my 18-year-old self here and I would say, look what you can do. What did you do with your life? This has been great. Any final thoughts for anybody listening, Ben?
Keep on dreaming and embrace who you are. That's my message.
I love it. That's amazing. All right. Ben Levin, thank you so much for being our guest. I hope you had fun today.
I did.
This was a really great conversation.
I'm going to say something off the record after we're done.
Okay.
If we can.
Well, then everybody listening, you're not going to hear it because we're going to end the conversation. So again, everybody, please go out, get In the Hole by Ben Levin. It's available on Amazon and jumpmasterpress.org. Check everything out there. All those will be in the show notes. Thank you again, Ben, for being here. Stick around. We'll talk after the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you next time.